Hello, beautiful ones. Welcome to Unicorn Light Tarot. I sincerely hope everybody is doing well out there today, this evening, tonight, whenever it is that you've just clicked onto this message. And if you're not doing as great, or you're looking for a little bit of clarity and at the very least support, then we're here for you today at Unicorn Light Tarot. So I thought what we would do today is messages from the ancestral witch realm. Let me explain that. As we can see, the divine feminine and the divine masculine are absolutely coming together. We're seeing the divine masculine come in the strength, in the way of justice and beauty, and the divine feminine in the way of compassion and standing for each other. And a lot of healers in this lifetime, whether you identify as starseed or light worker or just any kind of healer, usually they've had some kind of, if you identify as a witch or witchy background of sorts. And usually what comes along with that is a fear of persecution, a fear of not using your voice without somebody saying anything, without being shot down, without criticism. Standing in your own light and authenticity can be very, very difficult for starseeds. And again, for any type of healer in this lifetime, because of past lives and what has happened. Usually they have been persecuted before in past lives. Now, whether we are getting in touch with your actual past lives or with your actual ancestors and or your bloodline, or from your ancestral witchcraft or witch realm here today, for the witches and the herbalists that died and were persecuted and died before but were very, very powerful, we're going to get some messages of love and support from them, because this is the time for us to stand in our power and authenticity, and regardless of what gender they were, and regardless of what gender and how you identify in this lifetime, they represented the divine feminine. We're definitely coming into a balance of the divine feminine and redirecting the divine masculine to do what we need to do to balance out the energy and then rise together in the wake of justice, which is the very least we can all do. But at this time, it's really important that we all claim responsibility for who it is that we are and what it is that we can do on this earth. And we can only truly do that if we stand in our own voice and power and authenticity and claim it without repercussions. So what we're going to do is just get you all that information that you need to be able to stand in your power and authenticity from the witchcraft realm, from the witch realm, from those who knew completely what you're going through, because they actually went through it. And again, you may have past memories of being persecuted. This may be in your sort of cell construction or a DNA, and that's something that we can work on today too. So I figured this energy, these beautiful spirits are the people or the spirits that we will be channeling today. Again, always of love and light, always of practical, beautiful messages that we can get, so we can physically help you integrate them into your life, so you can actually ground into that power and really ground into your own authentic voice. This is really what this is about. When I decided to come up with this yesterday, I got this message of call of the wild, coming back to the wild, coming back to who you really were before they told you who you should be and before they shut down aspects of you. And for those of you who are starseeds, have come in as healers, or even if you don't identify with witchcraft or the witchy herbalist sort of label, which is totally, absolutely understandable, it really doesn't matter, because the call of the wild is really about the claim of authenticity before the sort of patriarchy came in and told us who we were and shut down aspects of ourselves. And most of you will find that you had instances, either family members or situations in society as you were growing up that mirrored the sort of shutting down process of you can't be there, you can't do this, don't expect too much, anything that would have shut down your voice or your light or your authenticity. So this message is still for you, even if you don't identify as being a witch per se, or, you know, the witchcraft, or even if that still makes you a little bit nervous. It's really just about the call of the wild before, you know, systems came in to tell you that you're not who you are. You know, that quote that they say, you know, be what is it, be who you are before they told you who you were, something like that, paraphrasing. But still, and also we can get you messages from your past self, from your bloodline, witch ancestors. Chances are, if you are starseeds, if you are light workers, or any kind of herbalist, or any kind of healer, you probably had somebody who identified as a witch, even if they didn't use that word back then. That word's kind of been reclaimed in a different way, and that's a completely different video. But you probably had instances where that energy is in your bloodline. So we're looking for energy from them and messages from them. And this is the support that we're looking for to rise you up in your power. It's very specific support from the divine feminine. So we're going to be using our beautiful, what I consider my most, well, not most powerful, but in essence of, I think this is the Green Witch Tarot. I always use my Goddess Tarot, which, you know, obviously for me is very witchy. And then, so that's what we have for these two. And then I have these beautiful, it's Witch's Wisdom Oracle cards, which we will be using too. These are very powerful. I've been working with them myself for the last couple of days. And we also have the Witch Runes. And then we'll be using my own personal oracle cards that I've made myself. So that's what we're doing today. So as always, please take your time. We'll take a breath. We're going to call in our beautiful ancestral witch realm here. We're going to put the bubble of light around us. We're looking for only messages that resonate with this time, that will help us build our power, stand in our power, and allow our authentic voice to come out without any kind of repercussions, without any kind of fear. So we're going to move away any fear today that you have about being authentic and being powerful in this world. The world needs your voice now more than ever. This is not a time not to stand up and show who you are. So we're going to support you in any way we can here today. So as always, if you need to take time to go ahead and meditate a little bit, these messages resonate if you are on the same sort of circumstances or the same frequency. So take your time to really get into breathing properly and just slowing down your breathing. Let go of the day, whatever it is that you need to do for however long, the 15 minutes of the pile that you're going to choose. And just allow this time just for you. If you need to go ahead and pause and just really come back into yourself and ground your energy and focus, then go ahead and do that. The timestamps will be down below as always. And so, yeah, let's just get right into this. We're going to... oh, yes, I should have said. So we do have these icons here. This is a beautiful bracelet that says Blessed Be. And it also has some charms on here too. It has the sign of the triple goddess here, what I also have on my hand. And then we have the Celtic cross, of course. I have many of these. This is the largest one that I have. That's for pile 2. And then we have the beautiful pentacle, of course, which is the ultimate sign for nature and spirit and balance. And I believe this is a rose quartz. So that is for pile 3. So just whichever pile is calling to you, that will be your pile. I'm sorry, my cat is in the room. So if you hear anything, that's, well, besides me, that's her scratching in the background. Little extra kitty energy, can't go wrong with that. So let's go ahead and move these away just for now. And so if you chose pile 1 with the Blessed Be, with the sort of transformational, beautiful icons here, then this message is for you. And just as a reminder, we are looking for messages from the call of the wild from the Ancestral Witch realm. So let's see what we have here. Okay, so we have the Three of Swords reversed, and we have the Queen of Chalices, the Queen of Cups. Well, we couldn't ask for anything better here for pile one. This is absolutely gorgeous. I love this. So let's go ahead. I'm actually getting pulled to do one more tarot here. I'm going to use the green Witchcraft. So yeah, you're sending you extra healing. And what we're actually going to do with this, I had a feeling we were going to do this, but you know, sometimes we have to get into the reading to see where we are. Yes, the Horn God too. So you are definitely balancing the energies of the divine masculine, the divine feminine. I feel as though pile one, you've been going backwards and forwards with this and trying different methods in which way to do it. And water is very powerful for you and very cleansing, but also doing things in your own time and in your own way. You have a very strong sense of self. Now, here's the thing. We're just giving you a real talk because this is a Call of the Wild reading here. You've had to work with betrayal. You've had a really tough up and down. These are general readings, but I'm just giving you what I have. We try to make them as specific to you as possible by giving you many different variations and really working with you on you know, if there's a course of action, or if there's a path that you're on, like wherever you are on that path, we try to give you some insight on that. But I feel as though what's really going on is that there's been a lot of betrayal in your life, insofar as that, as we said, if you listen to the intro at the beginning, there's been a lot of mirror action in your life about the betrayal that you've had in past life. So some of this energy that's coming in is your past life, but it's also in other realms with other spirits that you actually were with. So you have other soul spirits that you have other soul mates. Some of them are actually love interests, and some of them are beautiful coming together of spirits, but they're not like, you know, romantic love per se. Some of them you will meet in this lifetime, and some of them are staying back to assist you in this lifetime for you to rise up. This is a very, very powerful time in history. I don't need to go into why. Obviously, so much is happening here, and the chance for reform and change is, for the first time in thousands of years, is brand new. So some of your witch ancestors and some of your beloved friends have stayed behind in order to support you, and also they know you from past lives. So there's a lot of understanding coming in from this reading, but also there was a lot of mirror action coming in. So there was a lot of betrayal insofar as people not really listening to who you were and not allowing you to have your own voice. And these were people who you did trust, and you thought you were there for, but they didn't allow you the space to be who you were. They didn't allow you your authenticity. At times they may have even laughed at you. And now, not all of it may have been done to hurt you, but if they did hurt you, it was because they were coming from a place of hurt. But it wounded you so very much in the past. And these charms are very much like you have your sort of posse here. Of, like I said, you have your bloodline here. You have essence echoes of your past life that you absolutely lived. That is coming back in the messages from people that you actually knew, who stepped back in this lifetime to be able to help you from the other realm. They know how powerful you are, even when you didn't claim that power at the beginning. I feel as though there's definitely been a fear of claiming your own power, and absolutely a fear of claiming your own authentic voice, because there could be repercussions. Now, there's a specific reason for this, pile one. The way in which you see things is very powerful. The way in which you actually articulate who you are and how we can do things is very powerful. Let me break that down. You actually have a system for things. You actually, when you talk, people listen, because you actually understand what needs to be done on many different levels. You can understand, and you have a lot of empathy for other people, but you actually know how to physically help them. And that is quite dangerous, or seen as dangerous in a past life. in your past life, you were very, very, very powerful. And what you actually did, I can feel, is that you actually went against the systems that be in your past life. And they really hunted you down for what you did. You were very powerful. And it was a kind of a coup on their part when they got you, because I feel as though there's an essence of like, they rejoiced when they got you because they thought it would curb other people's voices. You knew instinctively how to speak to people and how to rile them up, how to stand in their own power very, very quickly. And that was very dangerous back then, because it could have been a revolt, right? But you're actually in a revolt right now. You're actually in a revolution. I mean, really, at the end of the day, that's what we're going through. Some people call it riots, other people call it an uprising, but what it is, it's an uprising. It's an uprising of the old. We're doing something about it so we can reform and do what needs to be done. You're part of this movement. Your voice is part of this movement. It's very authentic. Your voice is actually specific to this movement. You actually know how to reach people. You actually know how to motivate people to release the fear pretty quickly and stand in their own power and do something. And that's what this movement is about in this. That's why we're here, not just to say, oh yeah, I see you, X, Y, and Z. It's I see you now, what can I do? You actually have a kinetic energy to your power and your authenticity. And that is something, again, that you came in with. And that was frightening for other people. And that fear of the repercussions of what they did. And also, I can tell you what lives within you too. And you don't really need to go back and it's very powerful if you do. I'm not going to tell you what to do. If you want to go back and meditate and see what past life stuff comes up, that's fine. You don't need to relive any of it. But I can tell you what's coming up very strongly is that the powers that be, when you lived, they told you that they were going to hurt others in order for you to compromise your authenticity. That's how powerful you were. So there's a part of you that not only fears your life. I know it sounds kind of dramatic, but this is what's coming up for me, and for you. Not only is scared for your life, but you're scared that if you say something, other people will be hurt. Now, that is something that's more of an unconscious kind of understanding. But when the fear comes up for you to you get, working with your throat chakra, I'm going to clear that for you today. But working with your throat chakra particularly, it's not just a fear of the repercussions of them coming for you. It's what will happen to your family. Now, that's, again, more of a subconscious level. But when the fear rises about standing in your own authenticity, there's a little extra fear that comes up that ungrounds you, that may even turn to panic a little bit, and you wonder why. It's that unconsciousness of that memory of them saying to you, well, we're going to make sure this and this happens, and because you have so much responsibility for your community, you did then and you do now, that unconscious belief or that unconscious knowing of what they did, and they may have done that, I don't know, that I'm being told we don't need to go back into. And you're only being told this now so you can understand that this lives within you. And if this fear does live within you and this is resonating with you, Pile One, then we can definitely help you out there. Because this is a past life stuff. And, you have not only your bloodline here, you have a very, 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 very powerful bloodline. You actually come from a very specific line of wisdom, people who held a specific type of wisdom in your bloodline. Now, whether you are what we call a hereditary witch, where your mother identified as that and brought you up within, I wouldn't say a witchy understanding, but was sort of more open to sort of nature-related sort of beliefs, or you came into it yourself, and your parents didn't have this necessary in your lifetime. I know my mother was actually Catholic, but she definitely had a sense of very open to the occult in a way that wasn't really normal for a Catholic. So I know that I was in many ways sort of a hereditary witch, although, if you had called her that, she probably would have taken that label. I don't think she would have been terribly offended by it, but she certainly didn't have a label. That's not how she brought us up. But I certainly wasn't brought up Catholic, even though I did get a rosary on my 16th birthday. It's so I feel as though you know, what this really is a reclaiming of the spirit, a reclaiming of the power that you have in your bloodline. And they're all here and they're really powerful. And also I'm getting your second chakra, passion, the sort of sexual energy too, getting back into all aspects of yourself and reclaiming your sort of sexuality, reclaiming your love, reclaiming who you are. A lot of that first and second chakra was shut down a little bit for preservation. I'm going to clear that out for you today. So take a really deep breath. So you actually have a lot of influence. You have a lot of influence. They've been helping you out. And sometimes they really, I feel as though I'm getting this vision of them knocking on your head going, hello, hello, you are very willful, Pawan, which is wonderful. I mean, sometimes that goes against yourself, but when you use that will, not against yourself, but, you know, sort of out there for what you want, there is nothing that you cannot gather and pull in as a profound manifestation. But you tend to use that power against yourself. And sometimes you block them out, your ancestors, your bloodline. And also these specific, we're in the witch realm now, these specific guides who actually knew you in your past life, saw what happened to you, absolutely know your pain, and can help you heal and release this fear that you still hold on to a little bit. But you've been trying a lot, you know, you go backwards and forwards with having the power of balancing the divine masculine and the divine feminine, but you've had a chip on your shoulder with the masculine, which is not the divine masculine, but it is the masculine, which, you know, basically is the patriarchy and capitalism, which is falling right now, right? So there was a part of disconnection in your life where you didn't want to be part of anything necessarily. And then when you did want to help people, you didn't know how to, because the world in which we knew it back then, let's say, I don't like saying a new world because I think that's crap. But I mean, we're definitely building something completely different, but I don't want to say a new world. And it's certainly not a new world order. I know a lot of people are talking about that crap, but we're not talking about different negative timelines. We're talking about the timeline that we're on, that we're holding space for, where there's justice and there's profound peace and they're standing with each other with profound empathy, but not just that, with actually going out in communities and doing what we need to do with activism. And you are an activist at heart, so you have a lot of this passion, and you've not being able to activate that passion in the way that you've wanted to in your own life. Maybe something was lacking, like you kept that passion for what you do. If you're creative, you've got that passion, but there was stops and starts. Or you really want to find the love of your life and you know that you're capable of being like an amazing partner, but that passion, that kind of holding that energy for passion and manifestation has come in and out. That's another thing that we can help you with too, once this energy keeps going. So let's see what we have here. Guardian Familiar. So this is your first card. I love these cards. So you have a couple of different energies here coming in. Familiars from past lives are coming in very, very, very powerful. Now, for some of you, it could be birds and crows. And for some of you, I'm even seeing frogs and definitely cats. That's the obvious one. But an affinity with animals in this lifetime, yes, Lady Goddess Feminine. This is what you're coming into now. This graciousness. I just want to pull one more too, because I'm absolutely loving these cards. This one's speaking to me here. Okay, so your ethos too. So what you've had to do and what you've had to do, what you have been doing, is you're coming up and you're understanding your own version of events. What we're doing for you here is giving you messages from why this is coming up for you in past lives. But we want to literally sever the past life that you have. You can take all that wisdom. This wisdom is here. It's in your bloodline. There's nothing that you can't do with the balance and the wisdom that you have. You also have sort of definitely starseed energy, but I'm also seeing Egyptian energy too. Isis, you have a lot of Atlantis wisdom. So the wisdom that you have from past lives has already come in with you. Now, how you've been able to access this has sometimes been a little bit blocked because you've been blocking your authenticity through fear. So, you know, your familiar is coming in the way in which you will be doing this is to open yourself up to your witch realm, which is the first part that you're doing is being here, which is absolutely wonderful. Your familiars are coming through. You definitely love animals. I would say before the sort of world fell, if that's what you want to call it, as we're going through this uprising, I would say that you had more of an affinity for animals than you did for humans, because you knew the cruelty of what they could be. That's not to say that you didn't have empathy for people that you actually loved, or that justice for people that needed it. Absolutely. But you didn't have empathy for absolutely everybody. You did on a certain level, but you didn't have that care, that profound wanting to protect for absolutely everybody in the way that you did for animals. This was profound. I mean, to the, you would put your your life in front of like an animal. I mean, this is something that you've come in with because you had so much power from your familiars. You worked with that energy. You can be, you can work with animals in this lifetime too. You'll probably be a protector of animals. You probably have animals. You may not have grown up with animals in the house. And if you did, that was great. But if you didn't, again, a general reading, it was something that was within you that may have clicked in a little bit later on. You always knew that you loved animals. You may have been a vegan, on and off, or been a vegan. And even if you're not, you are definitely affiliated with animals and your love for them. But your power will come from doing things on your own terms. And that has to come from you. It will come from the divine feminine, from you honoring the divine feminine. You see, what you did in the fearful mode is that you shut down a little bit of that divine feminine, because you absolutely knew that your authenticity really comes from honoring the divine feminine. So you shut that down a little bit out of the fear of persecution, out of needing to be safe. All right, I'm also going to get these witch runes here for a little bit, whatever. So getting back into your authenticity means really claiming the divine feminine and the emotionality. Now, the beauty of this is the minute that you absolutely claim Lady Goddess, the divine feminine in every way, your first and second chakra will definitely heal. Your connection to intense passion that you've always have will come back in every area of your body. And you will actually really understand the world from a different and a higher perspective, and you will naturally have this divine masculine and feminine balance that you've always been trying to achieve. But you've been trying to do that by controlling by controlling the divine feminine. If you control the emotionality, if you control aspects of the divine feminine, you can have your voice, you thought. You can have your voice, but at the same time, you can still stay protected. So it's almost like, you've been putting your foot in the water. Is it safe to come out yet? I'll say a few things. I'll be authentic. People will love it. And then, I'll sort of go back into my shell a little bit. This is your time to shine and to fully, literally take those boulders back out of the cave and go in there and get out in the world. So this is the way in which, okay, so I want to pull two for you here. Oh, this is beautiful. So this is definitely getting rid of the scythe here. This is definitely getting rid of the negative, what no longer serves you. What no longer serves you. And I want to be really clear. What no longer serves you is the opinions of others in general, and definitely the opinions of others in past life. They're supporting you and pulling that out of your first chakra right now. I don't know if you can feel it. I actually set up this reading, all of these readings, pile 1, 2, and 3 for Reiki at the beginning. So if there's anything that you needed to be released, we're going to help you do that. So that's what we're doing now, and that's what your guides are doing. So, for those of you who are already herbalists or interested in doing that and work with herbs in your own way, then this would be a good time to do that too, to clean out the old energy. So the negative is being literally cut away, because the wisdom, once you cut away that negativity of what they did to you, which you still hold, the memory of it, absolutely. It probably happened more than once in past lives. So the memory of it is being cut away. And that's not a small thing. We understand that. This fear was justified back then. It's totally understandable that you would hold it in your DNA, that you would hold it in your psyche. But it is holding you back now. And that negativity is being cut away. Now, it seems like it could be sort of like a violent cutting away, but it really isn't. The scythe really is, it just works to cut away what we no longer need. So that's going there. And also, I love this too, because your energy, I don't know if you can see it, your energy is in the middle. It's going round and round and round. And here we have, you choose the energy that's around you, and you choose based on that the foundation of how you want to live. So the way in which you will maintain your authenticity and you will remain fear-free from your past without any repercussions is that you have to choose in this lifetime how it is that you are going to be here. You have to choose you. So, you know, I'm not Wiccan. I mean, I totally respect Wiccans, but really at the end of the day, they have a few too many rules for me. But this is a card that shows you that you need to choose what it is that you want in this lifetime and how you're going to get there. So you need your own sort of ethos. You need your own list of beautiful ways that you're going to get there. So this is what I'm going to do. This is what I'm going to stand for. You need your own oath, and it's good for you to actually stand in that and say what you're going to do. So you don't have to take on the specific Wiccan ones, but you can say, for instance, I'm only going to let people of positivity that treat me, you know, as I want to be treated in my life. That's number one. Number two, I will not stand for anything less than justice in this lifetime. Number two, I will say whatever it is against justice, no matter what, even if my voice is shaking, no matter what. I will do X, Y, and Z. It's good for you to write down what it is that you stand for in this lifetime. And then you can take it one step further and say, this is what I'm going to do. This is how I'm going to do it. I'm going to do X, Y, and Z. I'm going to get it. The universe will listen. It's good for you to set that up in stone so you know it's not necessary, but it'll help you clear out the old energy quicker, and it'll help you stay in the divine feminine. You are very much, without a doubt, balance with the divine masculine and the divine feminine, but you've been here to protect the divine feminine, and you absolutely know that a lot of your power comes from the divine feminine, and they are no slouches. They are no slouches. So, you know, you used to be mad at the masculine, and that, as you saw, was betrayal. You came in with that as a betrayal. Now coming in and healing and mending sort of that divine masculine rising up now, which is a completely different energy, but you will be doing it from the essence of the divine feminine. Now, let's be clear here. The way in which you articulate yourself, you do not pull punches. You absolutely do. The way you're very clear when you articulate, you're very powerful when you say, and because you have an activist heart, you, again, know how to get there. You're not just going to give a speech and go home and do nothing. You're going to put everything, your resources, whatever it is, you're going to be out there in the community doing what you do. And that's why you're extremely powerful. You take it to the next level. Now, you will be doing everything on your own terms. Again, you are very, very powerful. You're very willful, and you don't like being told what to do. You will be doing things on your own terms, and that's the way it should be. That's why it's important for you to write down what it is that you stand for, how it is you intend to get it, and why no one and nothing will get in your way. Absolutely. So this is a very powerful time for you, Pile 1. And again, you know, open yourself up to those that ancestral witch realm here, because you have your familiars coming in. You worked with a lot of animals. You work with herbs too. So there's a lot of different energy, and you also have some really, really tight relationships that you had. Some of them were actually romantic relationships, I can feel, from past lives, who physically knew what you went through, because they died the same way, maybe not at the same time. But they've come back again to support you, knowing that this is one of the most powerful times in history. So they knew that this was going to happen. Your soul knew this was going to happen. We all knew this was going to happen, and we came down on earth at this time. This is no coincidence that we're all here to do this. So, you know, listen to them. They can help you. And this is a very powerful sign. This is not just, you know, oh, you know, let's meditate and let's take out this negative energy. They're cutting that crap away. You don't need it anymore. So you can stand in your own power. And what's left is this perfect balance of power. You know, you came in with this wisdom, and you absolutely know what it's like to be oppressed. To a certain degree, absolutely. So you can keep that with you and still have the space for people of color and others that you are helping who know oppression completely different if you're white. This is a privilege thing. We need to address that. That's not what we're saying. But, you can help people do what they're supposed to do by having the empathy of just understanding of the bare minimum of what they're going through and give space to their voices, which is what is needed now. You're absolutely the people who should be on the front lines, and you know that you should be. So this is a powerful reading for you to regain that sense of self a little bit. You don't need to regain the power. You already have it within you. Just to shove out those thought patterns that come in. And when they do, it's like this spiral of, almost obsession of like, completely out of control. How did I get there? Oh my God, this is going to happen. None of it's true. None of it's true. Even like, physical stuff that'll have hypochondria, whatever it is that stops you in your steps, that tells you that, you don't have this power and, you're not going to be here this long, or something's going to happen to you if you do this. That's not true. It's absolutely not true. You came here to see this out to the end and then hand over to the next generation what needs to be done. This is just the bare beginning of beginning this new realm of who we will be on the earth realm. So these are my cards that I said, well, these two came out, so let's do these. Okay, unicorns are not looking to be accepted. You aren't either. No more doubt, step up. Well, we couldn't have asked for a better card here, pile one. Your inner child craves what they never had, acceptance and attention. Lavish your inner child with what they desire and deserve. Again, that really does come back to the Lady Goddess. It comes back to your feminine energy, like really incorporating the power from that beautiful energy. And, and that's the other thing to incorporate, like this childlike, beautiful self that sometimes gets dumbed down because, it's there, but then all these, this fear comes up about using your authenticity or being in your authenticity full time. Now, when you're in your authenticity and you feel it, you feel that power, you feel it, you feel that connection to source. But when you let that fear in, when that old stuff comes up, it disconnects you from source. And then you have, your witchy realm folks going, hello, knocking on your crown chakra. Hello, we're trying to help you here. And you know it instinctively that this isn't you. You can feel that it's not really you. You can feel that the terror is not really you. Where the hell is it coming from? And again, the other side of this is not looking to be accepted. You're not here. You are a badass. You're here to do what you need to do. You're not here to, you're here to respect, free will, because we are in a free will zone, and whether we like it or not, that's just the way it is. Not everyone's going to accept or even appreciate what you do, but you're not here for them. If you stand in your light, you have more of a chance of helping them from afar. But you don't have to take on that. That's the other thing. Some of you have been in this pleasing mode. If I please people, they'll leave me alone. That's another layer to dumbing down your authenticity. And we say, your guides say, absolutely not. You're not here to please everybody. That's the least of what you should be trying to do. Again, get down what it is that you're here to do, how you're going to do it. And really work with your guides for clearing out the first and second chakra. You get that firm foundation. Let them use that side to really pull out and cut away what no longer needs to be there. So you're left with the wisdom. And when that fear starts coming in, and it comes in a very specific way, you know how your mind works. It's sort of unconventional. It's a little bit off. And then it starts building momentum, this kinetic energy, until it rolls out, and your whole body's in this sort of fearful thing. You're disconnected from your own voice, from your own authenticity. Just remember, when you start with that, cut it out. Use that divine masculine voice, because you do have the beautiful dichotomy between the balance between the masculine and the feminine. When you take out the fear and you stand in your authenticity, you're perfectly balanced. So use that masculine hindsight to say, no, I'm not doing it. I'm using logic right now. This is not logical. This is not real. We've been here before. We're not doing that. We're concentrating on who we are, what we're doing, getting rid of this energy. And once you train your brain, once it starts to come up, you can train your brain, and then before you know it, it'll stop doing it. But then you will not. What you're doing is when that starts happening, that voices starts happening, and it's sort of like Sisyphus, because he's going up the hill and building momentum, and then it keeps going over and over. You can stop pushing that boulder up the hill. You know, don't give it any energy. You can take in that practical, and you have a very practical mindset, pile ones. You absolutely use your practicality for you and not against you. Use that masculine sense of self, that practicality, and say, this isn't working for me. I'm not going down this road anymore. We're not doing this. This is old energy. I'm not engaging in it. And you keep doing that, you keep doing it. And if you stop engaging with it, after a while, it'll stop happening. But that's where you're at. But this is a powerful time, because most of you, if this has resonated with you, most of you know that you're at this point. So you're just ready. You're going to take this side yourself, and you're going to do it. You're like, fuck it, I'm ready. So you're absolutely ready to do all of this, and you're ready to take on. You're here. You know what you would be great as, actually? You would be great as, and again, there's a part of the psyche that goes, oh my God, cult leader or whatever, you take it to the extreme. Like, people might think that I'm trying to do this. Again, stop worrying what people are going to do. But actually what you would be great at is, even if you're not like a witchy inclined person, pulling together a book about how you do something from step 1 all the way up to step 10, coming up with a new way of a new version of working with the mind. You would be great at that. And once you start, pulling away what no longer works for you, writing down what you do, how to get there, you should be able to write that down for other people and help others. You're actually here to build a new version of the old. You have the old wisdom, but the way in which you're going to put it out to the world is brand new. And this new version has just moved from the 3D to the 5D, and it's really needed. A lot of this manifestation stuff and how we used to do stuff is really outmoded. A lot of like the healers out there and what they were doing before, it's wonderful stuff. They're not bad people. They're great people. But it's not as effective because we've switched timelines. We've shifted timelines. You're actually in the new version of the new timeline. So what it is that you do could be really powerful. So write down what it is that you do and how you get there. You'll be able to help others. Now, a lot of these healers are also sort of going out a little bit and refigurating, the old and moving up with the new times too, with stuff that's going on. But some people are just still teaching kind of the old way of manifesting, the old way of doing things. And, none of that's really going to work anymore. It might for some people, but for the people that you'll be in and around, that you'll be attracting into your lifetime, it's not going to really work anymore. You have the new energy, you have the new power, you have the new knowledge, and you know how to articulate it. So that's what you need to do. Concentrate on getting that down, work it for you. And then you're here to be sort of a new leader in a way, to bring in, and again, the old wisdom, but bring it in a new way. You have all of this knowledge, and once you get rid and cut out all of the stuff that's holding you back, that's what you'll be doing in this lifetime. And, don't worry about all of the criticism or whatever, even if you get up there as leader or whatever, there's going to be people that are intimidated by your power. You're always going to have people that are going to try and tear you down. But the beauty of it is that you'll have so much support when you're up there. You won't, those people will seem like gnats. You won't care about any of that because you know that you're on your path. You know you're helping the right people. And that fear of the repercussions of not being able to finish your work because, something happened to you will not happen in this lifetime, So stand in that fire, get your power back, use that fire, that passion to burn all of the old from the first and the second chakra. Write down how you're going to do this and just get it sorted for yourself, just write it down for yourself for now. But this power is absolutely extreme, and this authenticity that's coming in for you full time. Again, it's not like you've not seen your authentic voice. It's not like you don't know how powerful you are, but bringing that authentic voice right in is the way that you're going to do it. It's absolutely beautiful. So this was a little bit of a longer reading that I've done. This just came out, and this is where we're at. So I hope you got enough information. Do let me know down below if this resonated. Feel free to give me a thumbs up. I do love hearing from you guys, so feel free to comment. Definitely love hearing from you guys. And obviously subscribe if you feel as though this is the energy and the beauty and the clarity support that you need in your lifetime. Always happy to help and be there for you. Pile 1, sending so much love and light to you. Stand in that power. Do your thing. Stay safe and sane. And until we meet again, bye-bye. Pile 2, if you chose this absolutely beautiful Celtic cross. Then these are your messages. Again, we are looking for messages from the ancestral witch realm, the call of the wild, getting you back into your power and your authentic voice in this lifetime. We have the Six of Cups and we have the Wheel of Fortune, the Wheel of the Year. I absolutely love that. This is a beautiful card. So let me pull one more of these here too. So your connection is through family. Your connection is through blood. Your connection is through sensitivity. Ten of Wands, absolutely. Your connection is understanding the balance, I feel as though for you, understanding the balance of asking for help and being able to stand. So, we're doing a little bit of a real talk because this is, call of the wild here. We want to get you back into your authentic voice. And also something that I want to make clear, I didn't make clear in the introduction, but we did this in pile 1, is that I opened the session up at the beginning with Reiki and Reiki masters. So if there's any extra healing that you need for releasing, then your guides will go ahead and do that if you give them permission to do that. So I do feel as though a lot of your bloodline are coming in and they're coming in to hug you. There's a lot of sympathy. There's been a lot of crying. I feel as though there's been a lot of releasing for you, which has absolutely been great, but it's also been hard. Your ancestors are here. A lot of healers in your ancestor, in your bloodline, a lot of healers, my goodness. But you came into this lifetime, it was quite lonely for you and it wasn't easy work, but you did carry the burden of the ancestral bloodline. And they are absolutely thanking you. They're giving you this huge hug. Yeah, you've definitely been sort of like, I feel as though for some of you, I keep seeing you like underwater. Sometimes you're swimming, but sometimes you feel like you're drowning. There's been a lot of activation since the beginning of the year. And a lot of what's going on has really affected and clicked in with you. These are general readings, so we try to give you as much information for as many of you as possible, but there's definitely a connection with family. There's a reconnection with the understanding of how family actually connects. So for some of you, you may have not gotten the support that you needed from your family. But you're getting into the connections into this lifetime where you will have that. You've come into this lifetime to learn how to love unconditionally and to be loved unconditionally. That's where your power comes from. That's where your authenticity comes from. And it's absolutely beautiful. And you will be able to express that to absolutely everyone in this lifetime when you fully come into that aspect of power. Let's get you some more cards here. So one of the things that they're helping you heal, and there are, are these? Okay. All right. Sorry. So one of the things that a lot of your healing ancestors that came in from the witch realm, they were healers. They were great healers. A lot of them were midwives, working with like life. And that's, not creating life, birthing life. And that's what you are here to do, birth new life into this world. Maybe not like literally, maybe you're not, you could actually do that. But, birthing new life into things. You love things that are brand new, birthing new life, new situations. There's a part of you that's a little bit afraid of change just because, it takes you a while to have a little bit of commitment. This one came out. Oh, goodness. Fertility, Beltane, yeah. So the way in which you work too, all life is sacred for you. And redirecting or re-understanding the version of the family unit is how you're physically going to come into your power and authenticity. So you might have to heal some of that stuff from when you were a child if you did not get, again, you're going to have to redo. This card came up in pile 1. Let's get you one more. Chalice, fulfillment. Yes, absolutely. This is beautiful cards for you. Okay, so we have the cards out. Let's get to the reading. So for you, your connection to the family, really moving into your authenticity by reclaiming. So the message that I'm getting for you very specifically is that you've done a lot of work on your bloodline, your ancestral line, because you've done a lot of work on yourself, right? So what they want you to do is actually they want you to claim that work, and they want you to integrate that knowledge into your psyche. You're still carrying around that wisdom, but you've not integrated it yet. So that's why your authentic, your voice, which you feel as though could be, you do understand that it's authentic, but I feel as though you feel as though it could be more authentic, or sometimes you question that authenticity, but you don't need to. All you need to do is, and they're going to help you do that, and they can help you do that now. So just breathe in to the energy, but really all they're doing is they're taking the wisdom of everything that you've done while healing your ancestral bloodline, and they're actually integrating it into your cells and DNA and uploading all of that integration. You've done all that work, but you sort of kept it away, not on purpose, but it's almost like you were still carrying it, like I did this for you. And this could be on a subconscious level, though if this is resonating, you probably get it. But I feel as though you understood that you did this work, but you hadn't taken the sort of the glory of it. It's almost like you didn't want to. Okay, so we're going to do a real talk here. You know, one of the things that you need to step up in pile 2 is you have to understand how brilliant you are and how powerful you are. And you really have to learn not only how to take a compliment, but how to take help when you want to. You have this weird dichotomy of like wanting to do everything ultra independently, but at the same time, you get really sad that nobody will help you, but you don't always ask for help. And if you do, you sort of, you know, you do it when you're in a bit of a state, or, you know, if you know, it gets all weird and warped, or it has done in the past. So your thing is, you know, your articulation also is to make peace with your past, and particularly your childhood. Now, for those of you, you know, we're not saying that you had a bad childhood or anything like that. You know, people do their best. They absolutely do. But you weren't, for those of you who are resonating, the general reading that I'm getting right now, you weren't honored the way that you should have been honored. And also for some of you, you weren't able to be a child. You didn't really have a real childhood. Maybe you had to step up into that adult role too quickly, or something happened where you decided at some point that nobody was going to be here to really protect you, right? So it's up to you at this point, and this is what they're here to do. Your guides and your ancestors are here to help you go back and see the beauty of what happened, you know, in your past. Now, if anybody did do you wrong, I want to be really clear, and I'm always very clear about this. I will never condone anybody treating anybody in any kind of way that's abusive or whatever. That's not what we're doing here. But seeing what happened, accepting what happened, and forgiving them just so you can have your life back, and just saying, okay, this is where I'm at. You know, you can claim the power from that situation. You know, there were certain things that you agree to coming into this lifetime in the parental sort of unit situation, because you needed that in order to be able to be the person that you are today. That doesn't condone anything that anybody ever did to you, but these are things that these are life lessons that your soul needed to learn. So in a very practical way, instead of going back and saying, why did that happen to me? Go back and say, why is this happening? What did that try to teach me? What do I need to learn here? Once you look at your life a little bit differently when you go back, you'll be able to extract everything that you need from that situation, extract all the wisdom, integrate that wisdom, and leave it alone. There's still a little bit of a heart twinge there. There's still a little bit of a fear of being rejected and not being seen. But you've done all this work on yourself, and you've done all this work sort of on your own in a way. Even if you've had people around you, you're a very private person in a way. You sort of do things on your own terms, but I feel as though it's definitely time for you to drop the burden of trying to do everything yourself. They're asking you not to do that. The work is done. What they want you to do is integrate the work that you've already done and update. You've gone through a lot of activations recently, which is why you're moving to the next level. A lot of releasing has been coming up. So, you know, old stuff has been coming up in an extreme way that it probably didn't before. A lot of like maybe anger, but definitely like releasing with crying. All of this is good in the releasing. But now it's time to step into who you are now. We suggested this with this card for pile 1, you know, to really redirect your energy of who you are now, not who you were as, you know, somebody's daughter or somebody's sister. I feel as though really standing in your own light and your own element without the sort of the light of the family unit is where you're going to find your voice. You got lost a little bit in that family unit. You got lost a little bit somewhere along that lines, and you stop sort of speaking up for yourself, and that essence of who you are is blocking a little bit of your authenticity. But you know, your healer ancestral witch realm here, I mean, they are here, and like what you have to say is absolutely brilliant. Now they want to remind you that yes, you are incarnated to have this family for a particular reason, but that reason is over now. You can absolutely go back and say, thank you for what happened. You did your best. We're done. You know, you don't have to see yourself as somebody's daughter or somebody's sister. And if you want to, that's great. You can do it on a preliminary level, but you don't have to base your identity on that anymore. Because nobody really saw you the way that you wanted to be seen, your identity was very much based on how other people saw you. What your ancestors want you to do is to base yourself, your authenticity on how you see yourself right now. And then, you know, being somebody's sister and being somebody's daughter or whatever becomes secondary. All right. And that's even if you choose to see it. Again, your absolute, without a doubt, your absolute version of reality here, what you're here to do is to see the beauty in every single life on earth. Now, I want to be really clear, because you've not always had your boundaries out there. Sometimes you've had too many boundaries up and you've shut people out who've tried to help you. And sometimes you just let people railroad you. You know, there's never been really an in-between with that. You're either ultra independent or you let too many people in and then you get hurt by them, right? So what they want you to do, really, definitely see the beauty in absolutely everybody, because everybody has free will. It's a free will zone on earth. But what they want you to do is have those boundaries and say, this is who I'm standing for. This is what I'm doing. To see that gentleness and that beauty in other people is a very powerful thing, and I'll tell you why. When you look into somebody's eyes and you actually truly see them, no matter what they've done, no matter who they are, there's something that shifts in their frequency immediately, and you won't even need to say a word. That is what you're here to do, and you'll be able to do that for everybody. Now, for right now, you're still building your basis, so it's really important for you to have these boundaries. You're still building this foundation, this firm foundation for yourself. And this will bring you ultimate fulfillment, because this is what you're supposed to do in this lifetime. You also have a tendership with children and animals in a really beautiful way. I mean, children will think you're great, you know, but you don't mollycoddle them either. You know, it's just like you really listen to who they are. You really absolutely understand, you know, children need space to express themselves. You allow people, and children particularly, to let them be themselves, partly because you never had that too. And again, you may not have been able to do this in your lifetime if you had not been shown. You had to teach yourself how to do it. Again, we're not excusing what happened in your lifetime, you know, back then, but they're helping you heal now, first and second chakra, which happened with pile 1 too. First and second chakra, but also with your heart chakra too, you know, with your past, and seeing it for what it was and not keep regurgitating or dragging it round with you, right? So being able to see people for exactly who they are. Now, the other side of that is you'll be able to do that with other people, and they will not like it. They will not like it. But once you set up the system and get a really firm foundation, that will not bother you. That will not bother you. Throughout your life, people have sensed your power. To a degree, you've already done that. So people can really turn on you kind of immediately. And it's a projection, because you were shining right into them, and what they saw in themselves, they did not like, and they blamed you for it. And it was nothing to do with you. You've been projected upon a good portion of your life, and that really hurt. But again, once you clear this energy out, and they're here to clear you out, so just breathe through that energy. You got so many healers in your family that actually identified with sort of like the call of the wild, that identify with this witch realm. It's really absolutely beautiful. Now, there's a level here of fertility, that of a family of your own too. So if you already have a family of your own, and You know, you want to have a better relations with them. Everything will shift and change. Or you want a family of your own and you've left it a little bit later, or you're not sure if you were, you know, you were in a position to be absolutely brilliant as a mother, father, or however you are as a caretaker. This is confirmation that you will and you are. Absolutely, look at that power, sun. And that really goes with the chalice too, because you hold everything that you have. And that's the other message that I'm getting too. Yes, absolutely, this masculine energy coming in and really sort of clearing out the old there in a beautiful way. You know, just everything you have is within yourself. And that's the thing, you know, when you bought on I'm somebody's sister, I'm somebody's daughter, I'm somebody's friend, you know, you took that power away from you just a little bit, you know, and you could feel a little bit sort of ungrounded at times. They're asking you to pull that power in. Everything that you need is within yourself. I know that sounds a little woo-woo, and it kind of pisses me off when people say that to me. But you know what? Everything is within you. And there's a practical way of getting that, of integrating all of the old and the specific past. We're talking about specific past, your specific past in this lifetime. Now, it might have been mirrored in other lifetimes. So, you know, when you came into this lifetime, the beginning of your life here, as you were growing up, your childhood mirrored, you know, the understanding of how you already saw yourself. So it was particularly painful. But really, at the end of the day, you know, the power is absolutely within you, the masculine energy to shine on your own terms by seeing the beauty that you have. Now, for those of you who are, you know, even thinking on a subconscious level, and if you are thinking it at a subconscious level, then whatever I'm about to say will resonate with you, is that, oh yeah, seeing the beauty in everybody, that's not very powerful. You know, I could do something more with that, you know, or I could do something more in the world. It's the most powerful thing in the world to be able to do. And the fact that you can do it is extremely powerful. I mean, we're on the level of Jesus here. You know, when you get into your power and authenticity and claim, you know, the fact that, you know, the wheel of the year, all the way through the year, help everybody again. And that, you know, you put words to that, you put energy to that, you know, there's nothing that you can't do. So much healing can be done with just that. And this is wisdom that you brought in with you from so many past lives. So this is your final message here. So let's see. Your inner child craves what they never had. Acceptance and attention. Lavish your inner baby with what they desire and deserve. You see, and that's the thing. You know, 2 and 3, 2, if you put those together, we have 5. You're coming into that energy, really coming into that energy of let the releasing begin. Nothing that was meant for you. Okay, hang on. Sorry, let the releasing begin. Nothing that was meant for you disappears. You can never be left behind. That's absolutely true. Understanding that what was meant for you, who was meant for you. Absolutely. There's a lot of people that are coming in and out of your life. You know, nobody who was supposed to be in your life, you know, everybody who's supposed to be in your life will either return on different terms with different contracts, or they were there for a reason and you both learned something from that situation, letting them go. And sometimes it is about the releasing period that you're going through. Most of you are going through this releasing aspect of the period that you're going through. Please let them go and don't worry about it. And you know, you can say again, what did this relationship teach me? You know, and then you can release them for good. You might even, you know, when you meditate on this, you might get a different answer than you think you're going to get. And again, the inner child, allow your inner child to come out and integrate fully. That's another aspect of this that's coming in by saying, this is what I'm going to do. My power of creativity, my power of femininity. You have such a sympathetic, empathic, beautiful soul that sometimes it's too much for this world, you know, but you're not. Once you integrate that freedom, you will get the freedom once you integrate all of the work that you've actually done and do that proper releasing. You're still holding on to the energy of the work that you've already done, and all of your witch, call of the wild healers and family members are stepping in for you to do this. You're very powerful with even divination, any type of tarot or anything like that. You're very sensitive. You're very clued in. You know, you don't even need tarot. You'd probably be able to just sit there and be able to tell people stuff about their life. You're the sort of person where people will tell you stuff randomly, intimate, crazy stuff at a bus stop because they automatically trust you. So this is something that you absolutely can do. You could be a healer on many levels, any kind of counselor. Anyway, creativity, there's a million different ways to integrate this energy that you have, and you will integrate it. You absolutely will integrate it in an absolutely beautiful way. So I'm really excited for you, pile 2, to step into that power that you absolutely deserve. You know, and just because your power comes ultimately from the feminine right now does not mean that it's not badass. You know, it's not a passive power. I want to be really clear about that. A lot of empaths think of themselves as quite passive. But your power is not passive. It's absolutely gorgeous. You know, you can change the world just by sitting in your living room. It's that powerful. So once you engage with your own power and authenticity and your voice, and again, really work with your ancestors here in your bloodline. And remember, call of the wild, call of the wild. Go back to that wildness of who you are and really make peace with with the old and the childhood, and coming back into integrating your inner child. And also the fertility too, the coming into the mother and the father aspect, and whether that's your own child, virtual child, adopting, whatever it is that you do. But yet that's another longing that's going to come into this lifetime that you'll absolutely have. It's really gorgeous. So that's what I have for you, pile 2. Do feel free to give me a thumbs up if this resonated with you. Do let me know in the comments below. I love hearing from you. And of course, subscribe if you feel as though this is clarity and the support that you need in your life. Always happy to have you. Until we meet again, sending so much love and light to you and to your life and your loved ones and your past. Stay sane and safe. And until we meet again, take care, pile 2. Okay, pile 3, if you chose this beautiful pentacle here, sign of spirit and abundance and extreme power and balance with the rose quartz healing for the heart chakra, then this message is for you. Oh, this is from pile 2. My apologies. Although let's leave that there because I love the Celtic cross, and they're very, very powerful symbols together. This will help you in your reading. So again, just as a reminder, we are getting messages from the ancestral realm, the witch realm. Tell Mercury retrograde's coming in, right? My communication's already all over the place. So guidance and messages from the ancestral witch realm, the call of the wild, specifically how to hone in on your power and hone in on your voice of authenticity. So let's see what we have here. Wisdom, love that. And the world tree. Oh, this is gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous here. So we can see that your roots are coming up. We can see that the old is coming up. The symbols that are coming up for you too, you've got a lot of animal symbols too. We had the familiar card in pile 1, but you actually have a lot of animal symbols coming in. The snake, even the spider webs are coming in for you too. So new beginnings, new creativity, a new sense of self coming in for sure, a new integration for wisdom. The first thing that I'm getting is a lot of healers in your bloodline coming up, but a lot of your past lives are coming up too for when you were healers, and they're all congratulating you. They're giving you sort of a curtsy, which is something you don't see every day these days, and unless you're on stage, unless you're an actor. And then they're clapping you too, a round of applause for what you've done. There's a lot of stuff that you've done. You've really gone deep and dark, a lot of shadow work, which is not necessary anymore. But you've done that work. You were willing to do that work. For those of you who are going through different phases of this activation, because you've been activating since particularly the beginning of this year, 6 to 8 months, even 10 months before. But you've been on this path for many years now, and some of that path was just oozing out a lot of the darkness of the old, and it's just been really, really difficult. But there's been an activation since the beginning of the year. What do we have here too? Yes, nature. You've really gone deep to connect to who you are. Some of it you've kept a little bit sort of at arm's length because you've been a little bit of afraid to clear out some of that really what you consider that deep dark energy down there. So again, I should have said this at the beginning in the introduction, and I absolutely did not, so I apologize. I've made this clear in pile 1 and pile 2, but I opened up this session for Reiki for healing, and considering that we are working with healers from your past life and healers in your bloodline, the witchy realm and the witchy realm. So we opened it up so if you allow the healing and you want the healing, that the Reiki will come in and heal and clear out some of that old energy. So this is actually sort of a healing, working with advice and tarot. So there's a few different levels of healing and activation going on in the session today. So they're going to help you clear out the very sort of bottom of the barrel, they keep telling me, that's going on there. You've sort of saved the best for last. Some of you have used fear in your life as a motivator. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. I personally have done that too. It's not an easy way to do things. Some of you may even have scorpionic energy. They really do like to get down deep. But either way, you've not been afraid necessarily of getting down and dirty, as they say, and getting in there. But what you've done is you've saved the best for last, and there's just a little bit of that fear because you've wanted to see what that darkness is, and because you've left it to the last minute, you're wondering if it comes up, what it is. And all it is, actually, we're just gonna tell you what it is. So it's not even that interesting. It really is carrying that information, as we said at the beginning, of being persecuted and being killed before, for using your voice and having your own authenticity. So you've carried that memory with you in a way that most haven't, and it hasn't even come up in pile 1 and pile 2. You've used it in a way so you can motivate yourself in this lifetime, so you can make sure it never happens again. Now, that's worked for you. Working with fear is kind of a really extreme way of doing things, and it totally worked for you. We're not here to say whether it works or not, or how you do it. That's up to you. But see what we have. Yeah, you've used your power with that. But your guides are coming in here for the call of the wild. The way in which it worked for you is that you had to really hone in on your power, and there was a wee bit of inflexibility that worked there because there was an essence of control, and that's what fear does. It works with the energy of control, and in order to work with fear, which you've done successfully up until now, but you've had to do it sort of on fear's terms. So there was an essence of inflexibility, of control here. Now, what you want is alignment. Now, there's a difference between alignment and control. You totally understand that. And you get into this essence of aligning yourself. You know how it works, and yet you're not always able to align the way you want to, and the control comes back. And then the fear comes back. But you see, the thing is, an aspect of yourself has already decided that it doesn't want to work with the fear anymore. You've done all you could. You've done everything. But then fear is kind of keeping this one thing going. Yeah, but I've got this one thing for you, right? And you're really afraid of it. We still got to look for it. And fear's teamed up with your ego going, but this is a really big one and we've got to do this. It's actually not really big. It's just the fear of the persecution. But that's coming up for you really amplified in the last couple of months because of the nature in which you've worked with fear. Fear is connecting with the ego now. Now, you've actually released most of the ego. You can be triggered sometimes, but you catch it. You're not really that worried about it anymore. You're actually kind of working beyond the ego. So the fact that the fear has kind of gone behind your back and it's working with the ego now becomes a little bit more powerful because the ego isn't as familiar to you as it used to be. So fear keeps wanting to keep working with you. You've kind of already let it go, but fear has this one thing over your head. So with your permission, if you feel comfortable, nature and your beautiful guides here, your spirit guides. You've got Diana as a spirit guide. I see her as a witchy person. We've got Hecate coming into. You might want to check out, for you, pile 3. I just did a reading with Hecate. If you haven't, I think it's either the one I did before or the one I did before. Maybe it's very, very recent. I'll probably stick it underneath, so just check it out. But She's also the Queen of Witches. She's also come in as a very powerful guide here for you. So you're very, very powerful. The way in which that you've worked, again, with power and fear is not for the light-hearted. You really have a very, very strong sense of self. And the balancing of the nature and the wisdom that you've come in with. Very few entities or very few people would come in and work with fear in the way that you have. It's very ballsy. But, you know, fear is going to try and get its upper hand now, you know, because you're releasing it. But you have the power. So the way in which you're gonna get your power back is there's several different ways. First of all, the one thing that fear, when it's teamed up with ego, that has over you is the persecution of what you've been through. Now, if this is already resonating with you, pile 3, you already know you've been persecuted several times for having your authentic voice. You already know that. So you can say, I already know this. I don't need to relive it. The fear and the ego is coming in together and they keep having you relive it. So the power of that, they have that over you and they keep having you, and it's really painful for you to relive it. And it's bringing up this sort of instinctive, sort of like primordial fear in you that's kind of terrifying. So what we're going to do is we're going to integrate, if it's okay with you, your guides, and there's several different past lives that's come in from different timelines that is actually you, that can come in and just integrate. We already know that you went through that. Bring in the wisdom from it and really cut the cords between your past life and this life. They don't need to bleed into each other anymore. So that's the first thing that we can do. So just breathe into that energy while your guides do that for you. And again, remember, this is the call of the wild. You cannot be wild if they keep using that against you, fear and the ego. Now, fear and ego have not turned on you per se, but it's not time to work with fear anymore. You're done with that. It's time to rejuvenate your power. That's it. You're back into the feminine, the goddess and the feminine. Rejuvenating your power, getting your power from a different source. You may have been frightened of your own power. You may have even been frightened that there was an aspect of you that was evil, either in a past life or that, you know, you might be kind of evil in this lifetime. It might sound extreme. Again, that's kind of the ego talking, you know, with fear. You've certainly understood what evil is. And you've really gone into the aspect of the evil aspect of, you know, the understanding behind it. You don't fear evil in the way that other people do because you've really allowed yourself to explore what that is. But there's not a bone or a muscle in your body or a cell in your body that would ever be evil in this lifetime. There just isn't. So for those of you who were a little bit afraid of your power, again, it's the way in which you worked with your power, the way in which you discovered your power through fear. Again, there's no right or wrong way to do it. It's a very, very powerful way of working in the world, and very few people would have the guts to do it, and you did. But that's, again, security. The way in which you're going to get your security, the way in which you're going to build your witch's cottage, the way in which you're going to build sort of your life away from fear now, because now you've realized that, you know, you want to work not against fear, but you want to release it. You don't want to work with it anymore. So really embracing the femininity, and I mean femininity, not just the feminine. You love and this has got nothing to do with gender. There's a part of you that's denied a little bit of that femininity. You love it sometimes. You might love the dress up, the aspect of it, but the femininity and the feminine aspect, the inner child, all of that integration, you've really kind of kept away. Some of it is that you kept it away because you were so serious about working with fear the way that you did, and also working with fear that could be repercussions. So you kind of locked some of that away so you could protect it. All of that needs to come out now. All of your femininity, and that's, again, call of the wild. That's what your guides are telling me, that it's time to integrate the femininity of the divine feminine and your inner child completely. It's safe to bring them out and build this new security with the power that you have away from fear. Again, you know, we only have courage when we understand fear. It's not that you'll never feel fear again, but the way in which you work with it needs to shift, and that's why they're here, to have you shift. You have this new growth that's coming in, and the wisdom that you gained doing what you did again, it's very rare to work with fear and to really understand aspects of your power through the way that in which you've worked with it. It's very powerful. You've literally taken your personality and you've gone through it and said, I don't want that, I don't want that, I don't want that. So, and you've done that through the essence of fear, but you can't do that anymore if you want. Well, you can't, you can do whatever you want. But if you want to live a life that's flexible, that's going with the flow, that's in pure alignment, working with the fear, with this timeline that you are now on because you have ascended, will not work for you the way in which it did before. That's why fear's kind of turning against you in this way, or you're not able to work with fear to the greatest results that you had before. Also, the other thing is your guides are saying you don't need to do things the hard way. You've always done things the hard way. You've always wanted to experience everything from the inside out. That, again, that's not an easy way of living. But, you know, for the wisdom and the beauty that you gain from it, I mean, there's nobody else in this world that will have that kind of wisdom because you were willing to do that. Again, with the witch's cottage, let me just pull another one and then we'll talk about them both together. But this really works, absolutely. So this really works in several different levels. You know, the power comes from the security. Your security now comes from the way in which you are building your new world. Sort of not in spite of fear, but not around fear anymore. So I don't know if you can see this, but we have this energy, this Kundalini energy in the middle, which is you. And then you decide what energy you have around you. So what you're doing right now is you're building the foundations of who you are and what you want. Now, what you were doing before when you worked with fear is that you were working to release the old. Now that you're building tangible foundations and building the security in this world and building that foundation and security, releasing the fear and no longer working with it, you get to choose who and what stays around you, right? Now, that's the other thing. When you worked with fear before, you had a relationship with fear, a really intimate relationship with fear. But, you know, people who reflected that intimate relationship with fear, you attracted into your life. That's the other thing. But a lot of ups and downs with people coming in, differentiating between, you know, being really good for you and being not so good for you, and, you know, boundaries up too much, boundaries up too little, you know, all of that. So the real balance comes from, yeah, absolutely, witch's cottage, your security. What do you want to do? You know, for you, if you do identify as being sort of witchy or herbal, or, you know, however you see it, having some kind of ritual for yourself when you wake up, how you connect to nature, how you connect to your wisdom, how you connect to your own authenticity. This is time for you to do tangible things, maybe, if that's something that appeals to you, to bring in this energy and solidify it as you move out of your relationship with fear and move into your own tangible relationship with power, using the wisdom that you gathered from fear. Now, I want to be clear. The way in which you're going to use this power, and it is powerful, the energy that you've gained and the insights that you've gained from working with fear is huge. Like, you've worked within darkness. You understand how it works. You understand the manipulations. You've even worked with them yourself on many different levels. You know how they work within humankind. You absolutely know all of this. You could write a book about humankind. You could write a book about darkness. You could write a book about evil and what it really is. You don't fear evil in the way that other people do. You actually understand it. You don't need it in your life. You don't need to, you don't need to give it presence in your life, but you absolutely understand it. The power is you in the middle with all the elements going out, and you going out in every single direction. So connecting to the elementals, all of the elements too, fire, water, earth, and air, all of the things that you have here. I'm not surprised that you chose the pentacle too. These are all the symbols that can absolutely help you ground into your own version of who you are. Now that you've done all of this work, it's now for you to integrate all of this security for yourself. You were never going to build a firm, secure foundation working with fear the way that you did. Now you can take it all out. Nothing is repressed anymore. You breathe through the energy of really identifying that, yes, your authenticity was certainly, at the very least in past lives, challenged to say the least, at different degrees. And you probably had, again, very, very many past lives that did this, that try to squash who you were. But, again, fear is just bringing that up. You already know that. You don't need to relive it. Your guides are here for the call of the wild, again, to cut that out and just to release it. Take that wisdom. You're not here in this lifetime to be cut down before your time. You're here to take all of the wisdom that you had and finally be able to be who you are in this lifetime and say what you could have said before, or what you maybe got eradicated for saying before. But there's no fear in that now. There's no repercussions for that happening in this lifetime. That's not why you're here to do that. So yeah, this is a beautiful time for you to build an absolutely gorgeous new foundation for yourself away from fear. And again, a lot of that, you can thank fear. A lot of that, power that you're coming into is coming in from the balance of understanding and knowing darkness from the inside out. Again, that's an advantage for knowing that. The roots that you have will come out. But, you've been working down below in the root system. All of your guides are asking you to, allow the tree to go up to the sun now. That's what you're doing. Work with that wisdom, and they're absolutely here to come in and help you balance that and really give you a new relationship with fear now, and also allow that sort of flexibility, that joy. Very, very serious, pile 3. You can be very serious. And that practical seriousness is great. When you've decided on something, there is nothing stopping you. You've got nothing. The will that you have is bar none. I don't think anybody else in the world has will like you do. You can achieve anything that you want. And nobody, again, would have the kind of strength that you have, the gumption to work in the way that you have done. But it's really about the flexibility now. It's not about the control. It's about the alignment. It's about, the joy of not not getting there, but the destination. Again, I don't like that woo-woo stuff, but living in the present moment, doing what you need to do, letting your inner child get out there, put on that music full blast, go skyclad and skinny dipping, somewhere probably where there isn't hundreds of people, but you know what I mean? Like, just get out there, be yourself, integrate all the joyful aspects that you didn't really allow yourself, either because you were protecting or you were working with the essence of control, which is what power, that kind of power, working with that kind of power, the fear in the way, led you to believe that you needed to do. And that's fine. Again, the power that you've enacted, or the power in which you've, I would say excreted is the word, which is kind of icky, but that's the word they gave me. From working with them is really powerful. You can do so much with that. Now, what you're going to do with that power, even over the darkness, you have power over the darkness, for entities that try to work with you or try to work with others that were, less than desirable. You can be like, F you, get out of here. And those entities, you have that much power. You can expel them. Not that you're going to end up being an exorcist or anything. I don't want to freak you out, but you would have the power to be able to do that if you wanted to. That's what the power you have. You have it. It's beautiful. You got it. But you don't need to live with the fear anymore. Because, when you work with fear, it kind of lives with you, right? So let's see what we have with these oracle cards that I made. Oh, I'm not surprised you chose this one. There is life in every new beginning. Allow the small deaths to bring you love. I'm always worried about this one because it's so, it's kind of intense, right? And it says small deaths, but I'm not worried about this with pile 3. I'm not worried about you doing this because I know you're going to be okay, because you're pretty intense, pile 3. So there is life in new beginnings. Absolutely. Allow the small deaths to bring you to love. So yeah, so that's the thing. You've done the fear stuff. Allow it to move out, move into the love, move into the light, move into the direction, get your security, get your understanding of your ritual of who you are. I think this came up in either pile 1 or pile 2. And there's been so much information I really couldn't tell you. But, the idea of, who you are, what you stand for. I'm this, I am that. This is how I'm going to do it. It can shift at any moment. Again, your word is expansion and flexibility. But getting that all down now, it's just so, so you can understand how it is that you're moving forward, your own storyline, what it is that you want to achieve, because it's going to shift now. That might be really good for you to really understand you moving away from the essence of fear and moving into something completely different here. And this is the last one here. Talk to yourself as if you come from the stars, because you do. And then number 2. So here we have a few things, coming in. So love is coming into your life. I can definitely feel that. Not just on a level of self-acceptance, but also a level of soulmate existence that is coming in. The other thing that's happened when you worked with fear is that you concentrated on that aspect, controlling that, working with that, releasing from that area or that arena of your life, is that you can be very hard on yourself, because fear is very hard. It motivates by breaking you down, right? So now, in order to balance out and get your security, get your witch's cottage going, get your true foundation down, you've got to really work extra hard now. It's really important for you to work extra hard to build yourself up with beautiful language, with telling yourself how amazing you are and how great you are. You need to do it 50,000 more times than other people need to do it, because in the way of which you've worked in the past. So really watch the language and how you speak to yourself. Remind yourself that you don't come from fear. It's not your foundation. Remind yourself that you do come from the stars, and that's why we're here with your guides here today from your ancestral witch realm, Call of the Wild. Call on them. They will remind you that you come from the earth. You come from a long line of healers. You come from a long line of beautiful men and women and everybody in between, who had a huge amount of wisdom from nature, ultimate connection, that worked with light and dark in their own way. The way in which you did it was kind of to the extreme in this lifetime, but you were trained in other lifetimes to know the balance of it, and you're coming back into the balance of it in this lifetime. So please speak to yourself and love yourself beautifully, integrating that gorgeous, like, inner child sense of joy will absolutely help you do that as you move out of the fear, working with the fear, and choosing your own wisdom and security here as you move forward, and really, really pull in that femininity, really pull in that power of the other side, the love, femininity, the joy, living in the moment, not control, alignment, and that power that you have, choosing who and what you want around you. Be selective. Be selective. Absolutely do it, because this is your foundation. Now that you've done all of this work, you're going to be working in different realms. That's the other thing that you can do. You can work in different realms and different timelines in ways that other people cannot, because of the way in which you've worked within the darkness and the shadow self and with fear. You have a very, very, very powerful mindset. So stop using it against yourself now. That's just the sort of the echoes of working with fear, and work toward love. Integrate that aspect now. Get back that femininity, that divine feminine, and rise in your power and your authenticity. And then I'm really excited to see what you will do, because you work with fear in a very specific way. So you're gonna be able to help people in their darkness in this lifetime in a really gorgeous way. You will also be able to heal people, like physically. You've probably done that with your own body, where you've actually, there's things that have gone wrong in your own body and you've physically healed it. That's because you can go into the essence of whatever the root cause. You're not afraid of it, and you can pull it out and release it. So that's another thing that you can do in this lifetime, if you've not already tapped into it, either in yourself or with others. It's a really, really, really beautiful way to be. So that's what I have for you, Pile 3. I think that's enough for now, right? Do let me know if this resonated with you. I love to hear from you in the comments. Do let me know. Do feel free to give me a thumbs up, and of course subscribe if you believe that this is the energy that you would like in your life for support and clarity. Always love to have you. Sending so much love and light to you, Pile 3. Not fear, love and light only, with you and your inner child. Please stay safe and sane, and until we meet again, you take care. Bye-bye, Pile 3.